Have you ever caught yourself scrolling their Instagram at 1 a.m., zooming in on every little detail, trying to figure out if they've moved on? Or lying awake, replaying the last fight, wondering what you could have said differently? Or checking their Snapchat score to see if it has gone up, predicting if it does, they are already talking to someone new? As a psychotherapist, I can tell you, rumination after a breakup is one of the most common and most painful cycles my clients face. But here's the truth. You're not just replaying memories of them, you're replaying the fantasy of love your nervous system got hooked on. And that's exactly what keeps you stuck. And if you live with ADHD, OCD, or both, this cycle can feel even more relentless. Why? Because the same brain wiring that fuels hyperfocus and obsessive thought patterns can make it nearly impossible to just stop thinking about them. Rumination isn't random. Your mind is trying to solve a puzzle it doesn't have all the pieces to. I worked with a client recently who kept saying, if I could just understand why he left, I could move on. Every night she replayed the same conversations, checked his last scene on WhatsApp, and even drafted messages she never sent. What she didn't realize is what I teach in my aligned love framework. Her brain wasn't grieving the real man. It was grieving this fantasy bond, the version of him she hoped he would become. Processing pain is healthy, but when it turns into rumination, you're not healing, you're rehearsing the wound. But with ADHD or OCD, there's another layer. Think about it like this. Processing is looking back on the relationship and saying, I learned this, I grew here, and now I can release it. Rumination is replaying the highlight reel and the fight reel on repeat, like your brain has Netflix on autoplay and won't hand you the remote. And if you have ADHD or OCD, that loop can feel unbearable. An ADHD brain hyperfixates. It locks onto the person and replays every microexpression, every emoji. OCD adds the compulsion. You don't just think about them, you feel pulled to check their socials, reread texts, or analyze the breakup like it's a math problem with one right answer. This is why people feel haunted by exes who were actually toxic. You're not in love with them. You're hooked on the possibility of repair, and your brain won't stop chasing it. Name the loop. When you catch yourself spiraling, literally say, this is rumination, not reality. I once had a client write this on a sticky note and put it on her mirror. Every time she spun out, she'd read it out loud. It worked like an anchor. Grieve the fantasy, not just the person. Journal. What version of love was I chasing that they could never give me? When you do this, you see that you weren't crazy. You were just in love with a vision. Schedule grief time. Set aside 20 minutes a day. Cry, write, scream into a pillow if you need to. But outside of that window, redirect. This teaches your nervous system grief has boundaries. Engage your body. Rumination lives in the head. Healing happens in the body. Walk, dance, breathe, shake out the energy. One of my clients swore by jumping in cold water whenever she felt stuck in a loop, it shocked her nervous system out of obsession and into the present. Shift from, what do I value? Instead of, why did they leave? Ask, what values do I want in aligned love moving forward? That's the question that turns heartbreak into a blueprint for compatibility. Obsessing over your ex doesn't mean you're weak. It means your nervous system, and for some, your ADHD or OCD wiring, is still tethered to the fantasy of love. But aligned love isn't fantasy, It's safety, compatibility, and truth. So when you catch yourself replaying the past, remind yourself, I'm not losing love. I'm losing the illusion. And that's what makes space for the love that's actually real. If you want to go deeper, I teach these exact steps inside my course, Aligned Love. Subscribe for more psychology-based tools on love, healing, and attachment.